at stumps on day one. We've only had 88 overs of cricket. England have licked along. Mark Butcher, Alistair Campbell and I are joined by Zak Crawley. I imagine a very pleased Zak Crawley. Congratulations. How nice to spend time in the middle. How nice to see 1, 2, 4 after your name.
Yeah, pretty nice. Obviously, fantastic scorer, fantastic feeling to score a Test 100, and yeah, great day for the team as well. So yeah, I'm very pleased.
What worked for you today?
I didn't feel like, with Ben playing as well as he did, I didn't feel a heap of pressure. And then Popey came in and played the same way. I was just trying to get singles when those guys were in, and I tried to do that all day, to be honest. And that, it wasn't my quickest Test knock ever, but I was quite comfortable just getting down the other end and watching those guys hit a few fours. And yeah, I was very pleased with how I played, and those guys played incredibly well and took a lot of pressure off me. How
determined were you to make the most of it, though? You got to start, you got in. The pitch was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I always want a big score, and I was disappointed when I got out. There's some more runs there for the taking, but I was pleased with how I played, and I know I felt in good touch coming into the game. Actually, I found a bit of rhythm and batting, and yeah, I wanted to make sure I got a decent score.
I know you're not on social media, but you must be aware of some of the comments that are kicking around. It was a very difficult time for you against Matt Henry. The runs didn't necessarily flow for Kent. Are you aware of that? Do you take that on board, or can you have the ability to park that and listen to what's being said in the dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously know that you're under pressure and you want to score more runs. But the thing for me is I just want to play well. That stuff that bothers you a little bit. But the most annoying thing is not playing very well. And that's all I try and focus on is trying to find some rhythm. And I love batting and I love playing well. And that was what's most frustrating about it always when you're not playing so well. But it's nice to find some rhythm. And the wickets actually haven't been that easy for Kent, and I felt in decent touch for a couple of months now, so it was nice to get some runs today.
What pleased you most about the way you played? I mean, I understand exactly what you're talking about. You want to feel as though you're playing well, finding the middle of the bat. What pleased you about your innings, and how the rhythm sort of seemed to increase as you went along today?
I was pleased with the amount of singles I got. I found a lot of gaps in my ones. I've been working on that quite a lot, getting down the other end, and not trying to overhit the ball, and I was pleased with that today. My setup feels really good at the moment, and yeah, I was pleased that I could pounce on the bad balls and then good balls, try and get a few more singles. That's something I've been working on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You've been working on setup in particular. What sort of drills, what sort of things are you looking to sort of make like second nature to yourself, so you don't have to think about that sort of thing when you go to the middle?
Yeah, setup's a huge one for me. I've been trying to stand a little bit taller, and that felt a lot better today, and it has felt a lot better the last couple of weeks, and that's a big one for me. Always my head coming forward as well, and then my hands nice and high, my back lift. So there's some of the things I've been working on. Then coming into the shot, just try not to overhit it too much. I hit the ball hard enough when I'm playing well, and I try and overhit it at times, and that's something I've been working on.
Can I just show you this? Take you back to 2022, feet were that wide apart. You mentioned you want to stand a bit taller, stance a little bit narrower, bit more Harry Brook-esque, lots of rhythm in your hands. But if I roll it on, actually, when you meet the ball, you're actually in a similar sort of position. So is that more of a feel for you?
Yeah, I like the feeling of being on top of the ball, coming down into it. There, when I'm a bit lower, like there in 2022, I feel like the ball's coming, I'm going at the ball. Whereas here, you can kind of see I'm trying more coming down onto it a little bit more, and that's kind of learned that from watching Joe and Brookie and guys like that play so well, and the ball's moving around, and try and emulate them a little bit more.
I'm wondering also, does it help your head position? If you look at that, I mean, we're only using one example here, but that's pretty much spot on.
Yeah, I try and get my head forward in my stance, that leading first, and then I think that will lead to the knee bend as well. That straight leg's always going to get you in a little bit of trouble, and I've been working a lot on trying to bend that knee, but actually I find it quite hard to do. More, it comes from the head first.
Okay. How much have you been speaking cricket? Maybe not about cricket with our old mate Adam Hollyoake down at Kent.
I've loved having Smokey about at Kent. He's a great guy, and he gets you competing a bit more, and that's something that I want to work on as well. And and trying to win games for my team a bit more often. And I've really enjoyed him. He's been good for me.
All of the support that you've had in the dressing room, it comes back to what you alluded to earlier. They can say what they want. They can pump your tyres up in the dressing room, but that feeling from within, I've spent some time in the middle, I've got some runs, I've contributed.
Yeah, you feel part of the team again. You don't want to feel like you're hanging on, and there's certain times when I felt like you're playing for your place, and I certainly felt that in the last. Well, I felt that loads of times in my career, and it's a much nicer place to be when you feel like you're contributing and part of the team. So, there's so many good players in the country right now and in this team that you just try and match them and try and keep up with them, and that's what I try and do. I'm surrounded by such great players. It's a nice feeling.
Well played. Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.